What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Noname back at it again with another New York Giants video. Just a quick little kind of update vid on how things are going with the Giants. Specifically, talking from an interview that Giants.com writer Michael Eisen did with Joe Judge yesterday, talking about how the off-season programs are going, the virtual off-season programs are going and how the team is adapting. Before we get into it, I'd just like to ask you guys to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Hope you guys are staying safe and washing your hands and all that. Now let's get into it. So first things first, as we all know, because of the current pandemic, the NFL offseason for every team has been shifted into a virtual one where they're communicating over webcam and the internet, whether it's by Zoom, Skype, some other similar software. And it does take away a lot between the players and the coaches. It takes away a person-to-person physical contact type conversation where you could really see how somebody ticks, where you could see their mannerisms and all that. It takes away a lot from the coaches, where you could definitely teach a football player more things better in person. But Judge, Giants head coach here, Joe Judge, remains optimistic about it because he likes what the team is doing over Zoom. He likes how they're coming in prepared. He likes what he's seeing right now, and I'm gonna read off some quotes for y'all. First one, he said, as far as building camaraderie with them, which I thought was gonna be hard, because when you really get to bond with somebody, and especially a team, when a team gets to come together and make that bond, it's gonna be a lot harder to do virtually than it is physically. You're not there cracking jokes with them, you're not there fooling around, you're not there experiencing the practice, which I think is the most important thing. Experiencing the hard practices together, learning from each other, from each other's mistakes that you make in practice and all that. But Judge does like what's happening. So as far as building camaraderie with them, probably the best part of the day is when you click on the Zoom and everyone has their screens unmuted and you just hear the guys talking. That's probably the best part. It took about a week for everybody to get comfortable to do that. And this is another thing I thought that would be hard too. Just being comfortable around each other. Not exactly easy to do when you're doing it virtually versus physically. Once again, going back to that, building the bond, through making the same mistakes, through going through the same experiences and practices and whatnot. I do wonder how much of a bond is formed between these players now that it's done over camera instead of in person, right? So it is nice to see that they're comfortable to be talking with each other like that, in front of coaches, because they are aware, of course, that coaches are listening in on their conversations and whatnot, which is another thing I was worried about. It's kind of like online classes in a way, right? You're not going to be cracking jokes if you know that the teacher is there listening to what the students say. You're not going to be there, maybe talking about them or talking about any of your problems or anything like that over webcam and microphone, rather than in person where you could do it and the coaches are not going to hear you right away, but the guys are comfortable doing that, it seems. So at least they got something there going for them in terms of building that bond. And on that, he says, I think they kind of realized as coaches, we're laughing listening to them talk, and then they got a little bit more comfortable and really started breaking it down. It's fun seeing all the personalities really emerge and the connections. Today was the first day we had the rookies in the meetings with the vets, so you could tell right away a couple of guys saw some new faces and you heard a couple of others rookies in here today. I'm sure they'll be asking them for a joke by tomorrow. And that's something that kind of slipped my mind. At this point, I don't think there's going to be a rookie minicamp. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't see how the NFL could plan around this to, kind of put out a rookie minicamp to happen this year. Rookie minicamp usually happens around this time. It doesn't take that long after the draft for them to start it up. I think it's like 10 days? Once again, could be wrong, but I do remember, reporting on it last year. But rookie minicamp is usually 10 days. It's basically a training camp for the rookies, but a very short one just to get them used to the NFL regimen, get them used to their coaches, to playbook a little bit more, get them used to everything NFL, practice, speed of the game, all that, before they go in to training camp and actually start the real things with the guys that have been here for a while, sophomores and veterans alike. So rookie minicamp is kind of gone. In my opinion, it was definitely nice, in terms of how effective rookie minicamp is. I think it's definitely nice for the rookies to give them a little bit of extra time to acclimate themselves to the NFL game, but it's not exactly necessary. I think you can do that in training camp anyway. I could be wrong. Maybe that is something essential that all rookies need, and now that it's going to be gone, or at least it looks like it's going to be gone, maybe they're going to have a little bit harder of a time or a little bit longer of a time adapting to the NFL game. But the rookies are in here right now with the vets, so they are bonding there. And I could only assume that they're going to shift straight from this virtual offseason into a physical training camp if that physical training camp does happen, which I'll get into a little bit later in this video. In fact, I'll get into it right after this next quote I'm going to talk about, where Judge comments on bonding with the players, not necessarily just the players bonding with each other, but he is a first-year head coach, and this is for the most part, a first-year coaching staff. So how are they forming bonds with guys that were already on a team for 1, 2, or however many years they've been on it? So he says, "I'll tell you what, we found different ways throughout the meeting times to work together. I found the time to grab certain players out of the meetings. I'm going to work my way through the team as we go throughout the rest of the spring, making sure I get the time to face each one of these guys. Leading up to this, I spent some time talking to these guys on the phone, really just checking in on them, on their family. I had the opportunity to meet a lot of these guys in person when we were still in the building. They were still around working out. I would say the interesting things about this whole process is what we're doing right now. As somebody else is speaking, really everyone has the freedom to look around right now and really observe how people are. When there's an assistant coach presenting, everybody in there is also presenting themselves and how they conduct themselves in a meeting. You're looking around. How's the guy set up in his house? Is it a quiet setting? How's he dressed? What's his eye focus like? Are his eyes downs? Is he trying to text? We haven't gotten a lot of that. We've got a lot of guys with great urgency. You have the opportunity in this setting to really see your players in a meeting standpoint and where they can't hide. Right now, we're on a 1-by-1 box on the screen. We're all face to face. You don't know who's looking at who this time, so everything you're doing at all times is really what you're being evaluated on." And that one comment about keeping, his eye on their eyes, looking at their ticks and whatnot, that's really important. And I'm not saying that there's gonna be players out here that are like on their phone texting or looking at something else during what is a very important virtual off season, but it's definitely necessary because it comes back to not being able to do it face to face in person. If you're in a meeting room, you're in the Giants facility, you're in a meeting room, you have their attention and you have all their attentions. You're not exactly sure what they're doing once they're home. So it's glad to see that they are keeping an eye on that, and it seems as of right now the Giants players are coming in knowing what's up and keeping their focus on what's important. And speaking of that, virtual offseason and whatnot, the training camp, as of right now, I don't think it's going to happen just because the NFL doesn't have a plan on it right now. They might do a virtual training camp, which I have no idea how that's going to work out. But in terms of a physical training camp, right now New Jersey is still under lockdown, and there's not really anything they can do for that unless the NFL permits them to do a location shift where they go to a different state or maybe even a different part of New York State to have a training camp, which is also in the books, but nothing has been talked about that right now. It's all up to the NFL, and of course you also have to consider the league and the government if they give them a thumbs up to say, all right, you guys could shift to a different location. Well, what is essentially going to be like 70, 80 men in total, roster plus coaches and all that, going to one location, which is going to be a dense little group to work out, to do practices and whatnot. You have to consider if that's going to worsen the virus in that area. So are they going to go upstate, which is something I thought about, before the Giants training camp was held right here in New Jersey, Quest Diagnostics, before the sports complex was built. Pretty sure it was held somewhere upstate, maybe Albany or somewhere. But are they going to go back there? Because right now upstate New York is kind of loosening and they're still slowly opening up. Or is it going to go to a completely different state? One that just popped into my mind for some reason, Wyoming. And the reason Wyoming popped into my mind is because there's nobody over there in Wyoming, and as far as I know, there's no lockdown over there because there's no cases of COVID over there. So are you going to go there because it's completely safe, or are you going to avoid it because you don't want to potentially carry the virus over there either? And that's another thing. Before they even get into the physical setting, you got to make sure all the staff is tested negative, all the players and all that. So in terms of a physical off season, I really see that it's going to be difficult to try and get that. But if there is no physical training camp, I have no idea how the actual season is gonna happen. This is how teams prepare for the season. If there's no preparation, what, they're just gonna throw them all in there? But the thing that's really being considered right now, like I said, is a relocation. I think they're probably gonna go back upstate to their Giants old training facility. Of course, it's not a Giants training facility anymore, but I'm sure like maybe that building is still there. Maybe it was converted into a gym or something, or maybe they go to a different state. Maybe they go to Florida. Florida hasn't exactly been a state that's been in lockdown for a while now. They live by a different set of rules down there. I don't know. Maybe they go down there, have a joint training camp with Tampa Bay. Who knows? But right now, physical relocation for a training camp looks like it's going to happen as long as New Jersey, you know, the tri-state area is still in lockdown. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think about the comments that Joe Judge made? This interview is still up on Giants.com. It happened just yesterday. It's a great read. Highly recommend that you guys check it out. And what do you think about the possibility of training camps being moved? Or do you think it's just not going to happen? Put your comments down below, and I'm out. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Put your comments down below. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Until next time, I'm out. Yeah.